I would have been 2, 4, 5, 6.
State of the Save is back in your headphones, coming to you from your podcasting app. It's Eric. That's me. With me is Michael. Say hi, Michael.
Hi, it's Michael.
Michael, we're back on the show for another wonderful retro video game podcast. I've learned that we've never referred to ourselves exclusively as a retro video game podcast, but that's really what we are.
Yeah, sort of, kind of. We touch on newer stuff occasionally, like in our personal lives and everything. But I think even in the old version of the show, our newest game was 2019.
Yeah.
Is anything in the before times considered retro gaming?
Yes, if it's pre-COVID, before the world went crazy. Well, that would be pre before I was born. But before 2020. That's when, that's before time, so that's retro, I guess. I don't think of it as retro, because I see video game consoles like the 360 and stuff, and be like, oh, that's not a retro console, and then I realize that there's
That's what, 10 years old?
There's grown-ass people who were not even born when that thing came out.
That always throws me off when people talk about the 360 as before they were born. I'm just what are you? Oh my god!
It kind of sucks, Michael.
It
kind of sucks. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. But that's okay. We're getting older and everything's going towards decay. But that's all right. Let's talk about video games. Let's talk about things that are getting worse with time. Michael, in the news. In our news section, in the news, we're talking about the Xbox Game Pass.
Basically, Eric has grievances.
I'm pissed off. I'm running hard here, boys and girls. I got a Michelob Ultra and a Monster Energy drink. God knows what's gonna happen.
That's a combo.
It's a combo. No, Xbox Game Pass announced their price increases. I, Michael, am a Xbox fanboy. I've been an Xbox fanboy for a long, long time. We play on all different consoles and stuff like that, but the Xbox has always been my home. And before this price increase, I was a big believer that, the Xbox Game Pass was a no-brainer when it came to value. Hey man, are you broke, but you want to play a bunch of video games? Game Pass saves you that trouble. Microsoft decides they want to shoot themselves in the foot and announced that this price increase goes up to $30 a month. Michael, I want you to be my rational voice here.
Okay.
Okay? $30 a month is a ridiculous sum.
A little bit.
It's pretty stupid.
$360 a year.
Yes, which ha ha ha. This just referenced things that were better back in the day. But I have a couple of thoughts. Listen, I understand that licensing agreements and stuff like that are probably very expensive for a lot of the games that go on Game Pass. I know they have the EA deal that goes along with the Ultimate. And I'm talking about the true Game Pass, which is the Ultimate level. They've got the tier system. I think the tier system just muddies the water a bunch because what are you going to do? You're going to get on there and be well, I want to get this tier, but it doesn't get me this game on day one, but it gets me this one. I think it's not helpful. I know licensing all these games is expensive. I know they just got an Ubisoft deal now that a lot of Ubisoft's back catalog is getting added. But there is a point where you reach where the average consumer, and I'm not talking necessarily even people like me and you, because me and you probably play more video games than the average person.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Is going to have a hard time justifying $360 a year. And then to announce this price increase in the most tone-deaf video I've ever seen in my life.
I have not seen the video. I was taken aback by the price increase and went, woo, okay.
They sent this poor girl that they had to announce this to slaughter because she had to be the one to say Microsoft is improving every day and then announce this stupid tier system with a $30 new price tag. I don't know why she drew the short straw there. But, I have so many questions on this. Because, one, you had a good things going, right? Microsoft is not doing well in selling hardware. Microsoft is not doing well in like exclusives, which I mean, I kind of think they're kind of not caring about that. They're putting games on other consoles now. Like, that's great. Play video games wherever you want to play video games.
The big home runs they've been having, like Doom the Dark Ages and stuff like that, are on PlayStation.
Which is fine. That's great. But the one thing they've been doing well is Game Pass. And like I said, before this price increase, I would tell anyone, Game Pass is the best deal in gaming. You know, get yourself Game Pass. You'll be able to try all these games you might not play before. You know, I was able to push Expedition 33 to a lot of people because Game Pass. I was like, you have Game Pass. This game might not fit you. Former host on this show, Nick, I was able to push him into playing Expedition 33. He ended up loving it. It's not a game he would have probably bought, but it was a game he went and played and had a great time with because of Game Pass. And so you have this wonderful thing going. It's the one thing that I think your brand is doing well. And to shoot yourself in the foot and then not do what I think would have been the wise decision was talk about some new games that come out along the price increase. So those are rumored Halo Combat Evolved remastered that's being worked on.
Yeah.
Rumor is it gets announced this month at the Halo War, tournament. Why not try to announce that right beside the price increase? Why not announce like, hey, you did the stealth drop for Oblivion, right? If you're going to do the price increase, why not be like, hey, we're doing this price increase. We have to, business, yada, yada, yada. But here is insert big name now that you get to play day one with Ultimate. I feel like that's the way to kind of like shelter the blow a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't do that. And you look at the announcements they have for this month, it's a relatively lackluster announcements.
And that would be a way to like sell the lower tiers of it too. Like the $20 a month one, you get, I think it said you get those games within a year, but again, the water is kind of muddied on what that
it
whole
was
thing
not
looks
really
like.
clear. Because also it's all talking about stuff that's not been released. Like it's very like, you'll get Xbox premium titles within the year. It's like, well, what's an Xbox premium title? Tell me a title. I need to know what I'm getting if I'm buying it.
Call of Duty.
Yeah. A lot of this is also, I think, driven. And I saw a guy, damn it, I wish I knew his name, who was doing a conversation about that there was conversation. He's my God, I fucking am so mad. I can curse now. We're past the 5-minute mark. I'm so mad that I forgot his name. Who was discussing that there was conversations around the time when Microsoft was trying to purchase Activision about fears of like price increasing games out of other markets and stuff like that. And there was some conversations that led to discussing like, was a lot of these price increases driven by the fact that you have to recoup money for the purchase of Activision and like having Call of Duty being on your Game Pass service. Okay, but you do that on the year in which your Call of Duty game is arguably, I mean, I don't want to be that guy, but it's the least anticipated one in a long time.
Going up against a return to form for another franchise with Battlefield.
Listen, I would love to be like, Call of Duty sucks, Battlefield's the best, because our TikTok views would be through the fucking roof, man. But we try to be a lot more level-headed here. But let's call it as we see it.
Yeah.
Call of Duty this year looks pretty bad. Like, it's a pretty middle-of-the-road, like...
Going 2 Black Opses in a row is a weird choice.
Also, like, because I played Black Ops 6 last year because of Game Pass. I wouldn't have purchased it, but I played it because it was on Game Pass. Had a great campaign. Really good campaign, actually. And Call of Duty multiplayer is not for me. Yeah. I don't like that style of multiplayer. I don't like battle royales. I haven't really enjoyed a battle royale since, like, Apex Legends was in its, like, heyday. I just really feel like, and then you see this year, and it's like, no one's really talking this thing up unless you're a paid influencer. It just seems really, the timing just seems really dumb to me to go after a price increase when you have this year's Call of Duty not really setting the world on fire. You didn't release any other big name games along this being like, hey, we're doing the price increase, but with the price increase, you're getting Halo Combat Evolved remastered, or you're getting Gears E-Day on this day. Like, I know Gears E-Day is probably a next year game, but like, you should have done something to soften the blow here. Because me as like a long-time consumer, and this is something I've realized, I've had an Xbox account, the same Xbox account, since I was 16 years old. I've had that thing for over, damn. Oh, we're about almost 2 decades. Oh shit, damn. But I've had that same account, and like as someone who for the first time ever has been like, I think I need to cancel this thing because I can just buy the games I want and not because there's months where I get my money out of Game Pass for sure where I'm playing 2 or 3 big name releases that came out that month.
Yeah.
And then there's other times where I don't. But with it being the price it was, I was able to eat those months and not really care. And when the good stuff comes around, I'm ready.
Yeah.
And I sat there and I was just blown away by just the lack of anything shown alongside this to really soften the blow or try to keep people like me. It was boneheaded. It was dumb. I understand a lot of people canceling. It seems, Michael, and correct me if I'm wrong, there seems to be a new thing that they're now claiming that if you have the service, you will be paying the original $20-some a month, I believe.
I have not heard anything about this, so I can't confirm that.
I've heard mixed, because the messaging has been shit. Like, what just also a dumb way of dealing with this. But I've heard something on the lines of...
You know who you really want to screw over? New subscribers. Those people.
Yeah. Well, it was, I believe it was just because they bled subscribers. I mean, I did check this. They did have a crash on the page to cancel the service.
Oh, no.
So many people were, and like, justifiably so. Just a boneheaded thing. I hate to start the show off negative, but...
Of all the things...
Just boneheaded.
Of all the things to do... You want to keep your existing people happy because you're not bringing new people in. And to piss off people who don't have a console and the people who have a console, just absolute, like, insane move to make everyone mad at this.
This goes along with, like, the price increase on the hardware.
Yeah.
It just strikes me as, like...
Which everyone's been doing that now. This is the second one that they've done.
Listen, and I get it, man. Like, don't be getting in the comments being like, tariffs. Yeah, I know. But...
You're a multi-trillion-dollar company.
You're a multi-trillion-dollar company. Also, if you are trying not to be in the hardware business, why do you have a new Steam Deck competitor coming out this year? Like, some people have been like, well, Microsoft doesn't care about hardware anymore. They're still going to try to sell you that thing. They're like,
they're getting into the mobile PC space. I mean, that makes sense. They have Windows. I'm surprised a partnership like this didn't happen sooner.
Yeah.
So,
but I just sit there and go, but the big thing with that is still Game Pass. Game Pass is still like the big appeal to their mobile PC platform is like they're trying to sell you Game Pass, so you have a Game Pass subscription alongside Steam.
Their everything is an Xbox campaign.
Yeah.
Is like for Game Pass.
I mean, Michael,
and the initial buy-in now is like not really worth it.
No,
there are other ways to enjoy the hobby. There are cheaper ways to enjoy the hobby than Game Pass, and it wasn't always the case.
Game Pass is the only thing that sold it,
and your digital library.
Yes, I remember having this conversation. I believe on the previous version of this show with you, where I said I'm sticking with the Xbox because A, Game Pass is the best deal in gaming. I think I said.
Yep.
And then B, I have a digital library that I would like to carry over. And now you're not offering me Game Pass. I can just keep my Xbox Series X to play those digital library that I have. And you're not even really super investing in a ton of like first party games. And if you are, they're going on other systems. I can just play them there. Like, say what you want about Sony, but Sony still has a good first party push. They've got big name games coming out that I can't play anywhere else.
In a very, very slow drip feed this generation. But
yes, hopefully in a couple weeks that Halo Combat Evolved remaster gets announced. Now, Eric would be playing. I'll play it. But if it's just a remaster of Halo Combat Evolved, we already have one of those.
And it still looks good.
And it's still very good. So it needs to be something more than that, or we're just like, what the fuck are we doing?
It's not because they need a version of Halo 1 to put on
and
PC, to put on PS5, to put on maybe the Switch too.
It's what Gears Reloaded was.
Yep.
Like, we need an excuse to put this on PlayStation, so we're going to do it. I just finished Gears Reloaded, the campaign, because I like Gears 1. And, like, it's nothing different than Gears Ultimate Edition. I played that last year. It's the exact same campaign. It looks a little bit different. I wouldn't even say it looks a little bit better, because there's some stuff that actually looks a little bit weird. But all in all, it just, I feel like it's just a lackadaisical response, and it's very bumming me out. Fuck this, Michael. I don't like it. But enough bitching. Michael, let's talk about some video games that are actually good.
Yes.
You have been playing a game this week that you've been enjoying.
Oh, man.
Let's talk about it.
Yes. You know those times when you boot up a game and just go, wow, this is a masterpiece?
Yes.
Final Fantasy Tactics, the Ivalice Chronicles, is a remaster of a game that I played on the PlayStation 1. Loved it. Hit a brick wall at a certain point, and I was so young I could not wrap up my head around like RPG leveling systems, how these things typically play, but I was immersed in the world. I loved the music. Coming back to this game, they've removed a lot of the like UI confusion of the original release, but still keeping some of like the sort of prickliness that comes with a game like this. And I was worried that I'll just get into it. Final Fantasy Tactics, the Ivalice Chronicles, just came out as a remaster of that PS1 title, Final Fantasy Tactics, or if you play on the PSP, Final Fantasy Tactics War of the Lions, even though it's missing some of the content of that PSP version. This is a game that is very much a strategy tactical RPG that is very well done. So, starting from the beginning, you get a sort of overview of the world of Ivalice where this takes place. From the perspective, the narrator is a historian of Ivalice, talking about how he was researching this time called the War of the Lions, a very perilous time where two warring factions went against each other shortly after the 50 Years' War. And the 50 Years' War was an event that left Ivalice. They lost the war after 50 years. So the people who were fighting that war came back. They found out that their homes were like ransacked. They had nothing left and came back to a kingdom that just did not respect them. The nobility that went out and fought returned to like their fancy, their homes, their mansions, places of like great wealth. But the people who came back were left with nothing. So they had to turn to the game says they had to turn to the thieves' coats to make do. So what you have here is a setting that is about like class division and warfare, and the lesser getting like tossed aside. Like a thank you for serving this kingdom in the war. Oh, now because the king died, we have a war of succession. We need you to go back and fight for a civil war, basically, and how these like nobles and everything are trying to drive in the lower class to fight for them when the lower class doesn't have the will to fight anymore. It is a very good setup for this story. It's so well done. It is so rich and dense, but not overwhelming, because ultimately it becomes a story of our main characters, you were saying?
No, it's oddly like a very like, it's a compelling premise, but it also kind of fits the gameplay that game has as well, which is a very dense, like tactical overview kind of game. So it's like
managing units on the battlefield whenever like the overarching story is about like these like political games that are being played. It's the same. It's based on the War of the Roses, which is the same time period that Game of Thrones is based on. So it's very much borrowing some of the same like tropes. Like our main hero, which the narrator describes as a lot of people point to Delita being the hero, but upon my research, it seems like this Ramza character, your main character, is the real hero. I've dug into some of the church's files, and they describe him as a heretic of the highest order who profaned the gods and defamed the godly.
Sounds like my kind of guy. Let's
and
go.
You're like, who is this diva?
Let's go.
Then you get to Ramza, who it starts with an in media res where we're later, and Ramza has like sort of left the nobility behind and is left the knighthood behind to serve as a mercenary.
I've watched this game from a distance because this game does have some appeal to me because I do kind of like a lot of people like my other major hobby is I play Warhammer.
Yeah.
So I'm a sucker for moving units around a battlefield and bashing into each other.
That's what this game is.
And that's what this game is. So it does interest me. Now, Michael, you said that you played it originally.
Yes.
But you hit like the classic, which happened a lot at the time. You know, it's pre-internet video gaming. You hit a wall and you didn't know what to do, and there's very few places you can go. You did tell me you got past the wall that stopped you originally.
I got past the wall, one of the last battles of the second chapter. And then a bunch of hours later, I hit the most famous wall in the third chapter. But last night, I got past that hurdle. So now...
Is it like a wall as in like, hey, this is frustrating? Or is it a wall as in this is genuinely just a tough part of this game?
Generally, like, a tough part of this game for the one that I did not complete as a kid. It was a tough battle. It took me a few tries even now to do it, but it was a matter of I didn't have to go back and level grind.
Okay.
I shuffled my players around, changed a couple jobs, re-equipped some items, may have gone to the item shop one more time, and I was able to beat it.
Now, does this game do any modifications to like the level grinding and stuff like that, like some of the other Final Fantasy remasters?
No.
So it's still straight up?
This is straight up Final Fantasy Tactics.
Okay.
You have a fast forward option, but because doing that would break the identity of the game, which is the job system.
Okay.
Now the job system is, think like XCOM, where you have four jobs in XCOM. You got sniper, you got, oh man, it's been a while.
It's like a support class,
you got a support class, and
like
you
assault.
got assault class, yeah, basically. Yeah. Now think of like you start out with, in Final Fantasy Tactics, you start out with two starting classes. You have a squire, which will be your branch to the combat tree. And you have your chemist, will be a branch to your support and magic tree. Those classes are very good on their own. You can build up units just in the Squire class or just in the Chemist class. I have a guy who is a Chemist because that class can throw items across the battlefield. And when you're dealing with a grid-based combat system, having a guy who could just throw a potion to another guy goes a long way.
Yeah.
But you start there, and then they accumulate what's called job points. So the Chemist will, when he unlocks a certain number of job points, you pull from a tree like a little list of options you want and be like, I want him to carry Phoenix Downs, or I want him to carry like antidotes.
He's like, he specializes.
You specialize and build up that class, but when you level up enough, you can move down the tree, and then you have a choice where if you want your chemist, be like, okay, you leveled up your chemist enough. Would you like to turn him into a white mage or a black mage?
I can see now, well, like a faster way of leveling would break that.
Yeah.
Because it kind of takes away the progression system of making your guys into specialists and improving. Because I imagine the important thing is having a lineup of people who have moved up into different classes, so you have a variety of units that you can use to win different battles. And
you always have two class, each class has its own like menu with different skill sets. Like the black mage, of course, does black magic. The white mage does white magic. The time mage does time magic. The summoner does summons. You can pick two.
What does the time mage do?
The time mage is someone who...
No, that was just fucking me because it's just like he does time.
No, let me tell you about the time mages because I hate those guys because they can just cast haste and all of a sudden their guys have like an extra move on the battlefield.
All these fucking Doctor Who's running around.
Basically. And they also have the ability to just stop you in place so your guy can't move. So he's just standing in place as your guys are just being wailed on with magic over and over again.
Just like
so let me tell you about the time.
It's just like the idea of when you upgrade this medieval, magic guy, and he just switches to a guy in a suit with a bow tie. He's like, he's a Time Lord now.
My favorite combination is I made Ramza I built him up all of the monk subclass, like hand-to-hand combat, like the fisticuffs. So he has a mean punch. And then I went around the tree and unlocked the ninja ability. Ninjas can dual wield. So all of a sudden, he can dual wield his fists. And does like 300 damage a punch. So he is a boss killing machine. He's a glass cannon. He can't, because he's in the fight, he will die quickly, but man, he's taking you all with him with his fists.
Just dropping fools left and right. Like, it's just a bunch of guys in like, medieval full plate. And then him walking out there just cracking knuckles.
Basically, he has like a shockwave ability where he can just like punch like the earth, and it just one single line of grid just does damage across the entire battlefield up until like the elevation changes.
Massive, like, I love people who do massive, like, different classification of characters in games. Like, I've been watching one guy on Baldur's Gate who just got his Gale as a barbarian.
Yes.
So it's just Gale with like no magic, just a big ass axe smacking people.
And that is the fun of this game, is mixing and matching job classes, seeing what works and what doesn't. Like, if you want to make like a black mage thief, you could do that. I fell in love with the geomancer ability for a little bit. Geomancers use magical abilities of whatever tile they're standing on.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
So if they're on water, they can only cast water magic. But if you move them to grass, they can cast
Avatar over here.
Basically. And it has a very small % chance. I wish it was higher, because I would be a geomancer, like not apologist, but I would be singing the praises of geomancer if the like status effects he inflicted happen more often. I'd be singing a lot of praises of geomancer, but that was a good like mid-game class for me. I am now on chapter 4 of 4 of this thing, which is only about 2/3 of the way through this thing. I got through the hard part that everyone complains about, because I got to it and was like, how bad could this be? The guy one-shot me. There is a one-on-one boss fight in this tactical RPG that they just throw at you. And in the old game, it was possible to save only on one save file and just get stuck at a boss that can one-shot you on the first move. So they now have the option to, you can now leave fights back to the overworld. You don't get to carry over any XP from that fights, but you can go back and level grind. Yeah. And this is a game where the level grinding is the fun, because you're building up your job classes. You're seeing how options like mix and match with each other.
It's not just numbers go up. It's also, my guy is becoming something different.
It's just one more level, and I can turn my thief into like a ninja.
Yeah.
Or one more move, and I can like start to...
It's
work
not
on
just
my
like,
samurai class.
Yeah, it's not just like I have a fighter, and if I keep grinding, he becomes a higher level fighter. It's like now my fighter is a knight.
But yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So I love that so much. And one thing I'll say, the voice acting is some of the best I've ever heard in a game.
Is it the original voice acting?
There was no voice acting in the original game.
It was all text.
The translation branch goes from the original PS1 translation, which was, I guess, good for what it was, which was a very hapdash translation that I'm surprised you could make out some semblance of a story in that thing. Then the excellent PSP War of the Lions translation, which you have an option to play the original game with the War of the Lions translation. If you want all those rough edges, if you want the I need to save on 10 save files to risk not getting soft locked, you have that original experience. But they did update the translation to the PSP translation. They added another translation, which is a modified version of the War of the Lion script to make it easily for these actors to read, and they are incredible.
That's fascinating that it's like a straight up like easier version for your voice acting crew.
Yeah.
It's like, we know this translation was probably tough for our voice acting crew. It was a better one. Now you guys can go full ham.
It's like 85% the same with some differences, some added scenes, and some added like lines of dialogue in there. But I will sing the praises of the voice acting. The voice acting elevates it from a great game story to one of the best stories I've ever received in a game. This story has me on the edge of my seat. I care about the characters. There is a bit where a battle goes in Ramza's like favor. He wins, but it's like a sad victory because he realizes like the first chapter of this game, Ramza's still playing noble. So he's kind of crushing the rebellion and then realizing that these people are just trying to get by. And he has a moment of realization where he's like, I'm sorry I had to come to this. Please, if there's something we can do. And she just says like, no, screw off. I don't want... You had more than enough time to help us in the nobility, and you let us down. Why are you offering your hand to me in my final moments? And Ramza just has like a feeling of, what have I done? And this is in the first chapter of this game. And it's just, the voice acting, it goes from just words on a script where you go, oh man, that line is really good here, to that line cut me deep.
No, listen, a high quality voice acting crew can make you fall in love with a character, right?
Yes.
Like, especially when it comes to RPGs. Like, I struggle with RPGs that are not voiced. Mm-hmm. Because even well-written characters, it's not the same as having someone who's putting a full acted experience into this, right? Like, is Garrus as good if that game's just a bunch of dialogue? Like, the dialogue, if it's a bunch of, not dialogue, but a bunch of text? No. Is Karlach as good if it doesn't have a wonderful voice actress behind it? No. Like, it just elevates it into like that peak connection, because I think we are just hardwired to care when someone's really putting emotion behind what's being said. It translates from words on a page to something that's a lot more deeper. And I think
it's reading Shakespeare. I heard someone compare this to War of the Lion, so I'm using someone else's words. It's reading Shakespeare versus watching Shakespeare.
Yeah, completely.
You get so much more. These were made to be performed.
Yeah.
And this script, the remake script they did, was made to be performed. You are watching with the like diorama view of these battlefields. It looks like you're watching a play with these sprite characters, and there's so much going on here. And man, the writing is like so good. Like lines that you read and go, oh, that's kind of a hard line. Like there was a famous one that got the retranslation is pretty good, where in the PS1 it was, I don't know, blame yourself or God. And now it's like, I don't know, don't blame us, blame thyself or the Father. There's much more like cockiness behind it.
And just kind of in closing here, they've been really killing it with Final Fantasy lately.
Yeah.
Like, you think about like the 7 remasters, remakes, reimaginings that they've got going on here with Final Fantasy Tactics coming out, and it looks like it's just like a high quality re-release of this game and really just elevates it. Really have been bringing out some high quality stuff, man. Like, that's a good on Square Enix.
Right?
Like, I mean, I feel like for a while, Final Fantasy was like cruising.
The 13 years.
Yeah, like it was kind of cruising along, and there was like the diehards that were still with it, but it wasn't bringing a lot of like attention from outside like the core audience. Mm-hmm. And I've been hearing a lot more of people being like, "Hey, man, Final Fantasy!" Like it's
like
cool.
What are the 90s? What is this?
We're going.
We back on the PS1 because I'm going to be talking a lot more about Final Fantasy coming up for the other game I've been playing.
That's just a direct rip off.
Not exact. We'll get into that.
Okay, we'll get into it. You know what? It's a good time to transition.
This is time to transition.
First of all, I'm glad that you've been playing something that's just really been connecting well, because you were excited about this.
I was.
And it's always good. Like, my favorite thing to hear about a game that you're looking forward to is that when you get that feeling of like, oh, this is a masterpiece. Because like many people, when we're excited about something, sometimes we can be, we can have too much expectations.
Yeah.
And to instead have something exceed already high expectations is just really, really cool. It's a unique feeling.
I know, it's so good. I heard people like talk about the price of it, $50. I was like, no, the voice acting work and the work they really put in.
Listen, $50 now is $50 now is a steal. Like, if a game's great and it's $50, grab that thing now. Like, think about like Expedition 33 was the same thing. It was a $50 game.
Final Fantasy also goes on sale. I'm beating myself. Yeah. They do. I was beating myself up that I have a digital only PS5 because I was at a game store and they had Final Fantasy 16 for $20. and I was like, man, walking out of there now with it if it
sales, and like Christmas sales are coming up, and so even if it's like $6, $7 off, no, I think for sure, I think that there was no reason
value is a personal thing. This was worth it to me to get a remaster of this game to finally see it through, and I'm very excited to see where the story goes because I have no idea where this is gonna wrap up.
Yeah,
I've been spoiled other Final Fantasies that I haven't finished. I never let myself get spoiled on Tactics because I'm like, someday I will go back and finish it. I always proclaimed Final Fantasy Tactics was the best game I never finished. So being able to see it through is going to place very, very high on my personal list of favorite games.
It's so weird when something that has been out for a long time, but you're like entrenched in that community, and yet you still don't know. It's such a weird feeling. And I've had that happen to me recently. Like, I recently watched the Harry Potter movies, and like I knew nothing about them. Like, everybody around me, my age, is like, "Oh, you a Hufflepuff?" I'm like, "What the fuck is a Hufflepuff?" And like, but I did not know anything about them. I never read the books, and I got to watch them with someone who deeply loved that franchise, and so I got to have all of the like new viewer experience with it, and I was like, because I had nothing. Just for some reason, it breezed past my brain. And then I did it recently with Dexter. I'm watching Dexter for the first time, and I guessed the major spoiler in Dexter 3 episodes before it happened on a whim, and it was like the greatest feeling in the world. And she's like, "You fucking Googled this." I said, "No, I just took a guess." And it was my favorite thing. So I love when I get to experience something that everyone else already has.
Yeah.
But I've somehow dodged all of it. So the fact that you're a part of this video game community since you were young, and now you still don't know the big twist is still fun. It's fun to have that.
A lot of things like happened in this thing that I was genuinely like surprised by, and I'm like being taken for a ride on.
It's like
it also helps the fact that like this game is a very different translation from what it originally was. True. So some people might be getting different plot points. Like, I didn't get that at all.
Yeah. Well, that's fun.
Yes.
Let's talk about games that we brought us here for. Michael, you played Lord of the Rings: The Third Age. Speaking of Final Fantasy games.
We're going to be talking a lot more about it.
Yes. I played Prince of Persia: The Sands of Time. Michael, this is a baller week for some video games. I guess I'll go first.
Yeah, let's.
Prince of Persia: The Sands of Time is a game I never played, but damn, I wish I would have played it back then because it's a great video game. Like, it's such a game of the time. It's a PlayStation 2 ass PlayStation 2 game.
Yep.
And like in a good way, in a great way. I do plan. I'm keeping your copy. Because I also want to play Warrior Within.
Yes.
Because you loaned me the trilogy, the PlayStation 3 trilogy. Which, by the way, we need to go back to doing that. Putting games on one disc.
Like
and just having trilogies.
Packages,
yeah, trilogy packages is such a great thing. We need to go make this happen.
The PS3 did that in
a ton of games.
Like the Jack trilogy.
They did it for God of
War. Splinter Cell.
Didn't they do it for
Tomb Raider?
Sly Cooper?
Sly, they did a Sly trilogy release for that, so yeah.
Yeah, like, good on PlayStation for doing that. But Princess Persia: Sands of Time, this game is really good, man. Like,
I knew you would like this.
I'm really enjoying this. It does a platforming that is quite difficult. It's like, some of the platforming is not easy.
It's trial and error, pretty much. There are some areas that, like, you kind of see laid out, but you don't necessarily know how it works until you fall into the trap.
It is a little bit like precise. Like, I hit a weird wall at one point where I had to do like something in a lot of platforming games when you're bouncing between walls.
Mm-hmm.
And at first I'm like, why is this not working? I'm not stupid. And like, you just have to be really precise when you hit the next move. Because I think a lot of modern platforming kind of is a lot more like safety netted. So, like, when you jump or something, the game kind of really helps make sure that you grab it, and you kind of help. Like, if you're supposed to hit, like, X to jump off a wall, you can kind of, like, spam X in the air and do it. While in this, is like, no, you need to, when you make contact with the wall, do it. Do the X. Like, it's a little bit more precise, but it doesn't fall into that, like... I recently played the Tomb Raider remasters that I think it's Aspen Entertainment,
Aspire
Entertainment did. I played the first one. I played Tomb Raider 1 recently, and like that game is a platforming heavy game as well, but it's extremely frustrating because you never feel like your brain, you know how to make something happen, but the controls are constantly fighting you.
Yeah.
This doesn't have that. So like at first, like when I loaded it up, I'm like, oh damn, that's not like a straight up jump button in this game. Like it's contextual.
Yeah.
You have to be in like the context to make the jump. And at first I'm like, that seems kind of stupid. But like as I started getting into the platforming, I really like how it handles it. And then once you gain the dagger, that gives you the title Sands of Time kind of ability to do rewinding, it's a great way to get out of making platforming frustrating. Mm-hmm. Because then what you do is, if you do screw up a platform, you just rewind yourself back to the platform that you were on and try it again. So it's like a great mechanic to kind of fix what is frustrating about platforming games, which is falling off of shit. You know, it's I'll just rewind myself back to where I was and do it again and try it. Or if it's like a spinning, thing of spikes that hit me, I'll rewind past it and then I'll try it again. It allows them to be more difficult with the platforming because there was a get out of jail free card, which is the rewind. Just really smart mechanics.
My favorite thing games do is tie the gameplay mechanics into the narrative, which is what the Sands of Time is. It's all him coming to grapple with this like ability that he has.
Well, the unleashing of the Sands of Time, and him having to use the dagger to try to figure out what's going on, and even the game before you gain the dagger. It does there's the section before you get the dagger is a cool tutorial section, but you can tell once you gain the dagger they can really start amping up the platforming because they know you have a way to rewind out of it. So you get a lot more complex situations because you have the dagger. Yeah. A lot of things falling away underneath your feet, which means that you can use the dagger to come back up and do stuff. Combat wise, I don't use the dagger much in combat. The combat's relatively pretty easy. The dagger does have some cool abilities, like the ability to freeze a target. I like that there's a recharge, you kill targets by charging the dagger, basically, so that you finish off people with the dagger, and that recharges the dagger to give you more, time abilities and stuff. And as the game goes on,
combat feel necessary because you're I'm out of charges, and then you come out of a charge battle arena and you go, okay, I'm ready for the next platforming challenge because I got a full dagger.
And enemies are pretty straightforward. Now, if you get surrounded, they throw a pretty good amount of them at you pretty quick, but it's definitely, I'm not there necessarily for the combat. I'm there for the platforming and the adventuring, which seems to be something that in Warrior Within changes. Apparently, Warrior Within is a lot more combat focused.
Oh, I don't remember. I remember the platforming still being really good in Warrior Within.
I'll probably play some Warrior Within next. I think I actually do want to just finish off Sands of Time first because I do really enjoy the PlayStation 2 PlayStation 2-ness of this game. And it reminds me very heavily of a lot of the platformers that were coming on around this time, things like Ratchet and Clank and stuff, which I actually thought about playing some Ratchet and Clank recently because Ratchet and Clank games are really fun.
Those are ones that kind of passed me by. I was a Jack and Daxter guy.
I think you're one of the other. You either got into Jax or you got into Ratchet and Clank or Sly Cooper. And I liked Sly Cooper in theory, but I only played the first one, I think.
I need to play those.
I think Ratchet and Clank I enjoyed. A part of me, I get in these moods where I want to play a franchise. And I'm not going to lie, I've been kind of looking at the rest of these Prince of Persia, maybe I should just play through all three of these. And but I do think about that a lot with Ratchet and Clank, where I was I kind of want to play through the Ratchet and Clank franchise. But yeah, I think you're one of the two. You're either a Jax kid, or you're a Ratchet and Clank kid, or you were a Sly Cooper kid. And I love raccoons, so Sly Cooper had an advantage. That's a fun Eric fact. I love raccoons.
Raccoons are great.
They're so cool. I love raccoons so much. Half of my TikTok feed is just raccoons getting into shenanigans. People will just send me, like, there was a raccoon TikTok going around recently of someone discovering like 12 raccoons in their garage, and I had 5 different people send it to me. But no, Prince of Persia: Sands of Time, man, this game is so fun. It's very like, it's not really like, it is interesting to see where it goes with Warrior Within, and I can see why that would be a jarring thing.
Yes,
because this is by no means like,
my jaw
dark.
was unhinged in the first like 5 minutes of that game.
Like,
Like,
this
what
is
are
not-
we doing?
Like, this is not dark at all. Like, it's pretty like Disney like. In like there's some, you know, people get like killed when the Sands of Time are released and stuff, and like things like that. There is some like, yeah, there's some like slightly mature themes going on, but nothing crazy. I could see like when Warrior Within comes out, people being like, "What the hell happened?" Like,
How did we get here?
we went from Aladdin over here to like the lead single of Puddle of Mud or whatever, or like, what's going on? But yeah, I'm really enjoying this. It kind of makes me long for games of this style. Like, I want to see more games like this back in the rotation. Let's bring back platformers, damn it.
Yes.
Let's bring back platformers and action adventure games.
A platformer won Game of the Year last year.
I know, but I'm talking like
that's
I'm
what
saying yeah.
more.
No, like, yeah,
That,
I mean,
but that was like a big company that's not Nintendo making a 3D platformer.
yeah, I mean, you're talking about Astrobot.
Yes, I'm
yeah.
talking about Astrobot.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean,
more of that, please.
I've been playing, because I played Mario last show. Playing platformers are fun.
Right?
Action adventure games are fun. We need to bring back the action adventure game. Like, my most excited game of this month is the next Ninja Gaiden comes out on the 20th. And like, that's like, I like action games. Now that's more of an action game. That's not the platform.
Character action.
Character
if you wanna
action
get
game.
really into genre
Yeah, if you want to
specific.
get in there, yeah. But you know, I really enjoyed this. This is really fun. I think I'm gonna finish it. I'm kind of thinking like maybe I should. I think I want to finish Sands of Time and play Warrior Within and see how I feel about it. And if I dig Warrior Within, maybe try to finish the franchise or finish the trilogy.
I don't think I'd never finished 3. I remember liking 3, but I never finished 3. In that
3 is
franchise.
definitely the one that I remember the least about when it came out. Like, it made less of a splash, I think.
Yeah, because it was still rated M, but they kind of tried to divert it back to like the adventuring thing. So what you end up with like a hybrid of the two styles. But
I feel like once you go full Mountain Dew, you gotta just stick with it.
yep, you gotta keep the edge.
Well, yeah, you gotta keep the edge.
You can't dull the edge once it's made.
Yeah, you can't go full emo and then come back to it and make, unless you're My Chemical Romance, then you can end up on like Gabba Gabba. You know?
My Chemical Romance is and it always will be the exception to the rule in whatever
Like,
they do.
That band, I've seen that band once, and like, they are such just a fascinating example of like, they go from like the emo kings of the world, and they release like what is one of like the greatest emo albums of all time with the Black Parade, and then they go off the rails with, what was the other one, like the Fabulous Killjoys,
Yeah.
which was like a pop punk emo, what, I don't even know exactly what that change was, but it's still like, I remember hating it when it came out, and then like now I really dig it. Like, he's got some great songs on there.
They wrote the Black Parade. What else could they do in that space? They
back,
made it. They made like the pop punk concept album that wasn't called American Idiot.
No, you're right. Like, they hit the greatest peak of what a My Chemical Romance album is gonna be, and like, looking back on it, I'm like, yeah, of course, there's nowhere else to go. You have to change and have to do something different because you kind of perfected it. And like, but at the time, I remember being like, "I don't like this. Their hair colors are red now. That's not My Chemical Romance." But yeah, what a fascinating band with a fascinating discography. And like, now that they're back at it, man, they're doing like stadium tours. I saw them last year when we were young.
They killed the Black Parade on stage.
They're killing the Black Parade on stage with like massive symbolism that people don't understand. Just watching like the differences between like people who understand music literacy and people who don't has been fascinating. Michael,
Yes.
Lord of the Rings: The Third Age.
Lord of the Rings: The Third Age. Speaking of a time where movie games were the big deal on like the PS2 generation, because you can try to sum this up as like, oh, this is like a full RPG set in the Lord of the Rings universe. We still have the license to the Lord of the Rings franchise, so we are going to pump out as much stuff. Derek down the hall has an idea. Let's make it a video game.
Yeah, this is post the Two Towers and Return of the King game.
This was a year after Return of the King,
Which
so all the movies were out on DVD at this point. So you didn't have to go and play the game to see footage of the movie you just watched. You have all those movies on DVD.
Exactly, which was a weird thing. Like tie-in games were meant to keep you excited about a movie.
Yes.
Like you would play the tie-in game after or before. A lot of times tie-in games came out like a month or two before the movie. So if you wanted to spoil a movie for yourself, you just played the tie-in game beforehand.
And this is one of the instances where I think being so closely tied to the movies of Lord of the Rings is, I think, this game's detriment.
100%. I can buy that.
If this was a game set in the RPG set in the Lord of the Rings universe and everything else was the same, where you're loosely following behind like the Fellowship as they do their stuff. There's a really cool bit in the Mental Minds where you're here, the Fellowship off in the distance, like the lines from the movie and stuff. Where this game crumbles is in its presentation aspect, but the overall game is great. And I mean that as in an RPG where you're going around, you're exploring, you're getting aspects of the world, you're getting some flavor text, right? In this game, you're unlocking edited clips from the movie with Ian McKellen just voicing over it. The entire lexicon is just like the same 5 if I have to see all of the dwarves grabbing the rings off the table and holding it up one more time, I was going to scream. And you see how many clips are in this thing. I got like 30, because I played a third of this game. I got like 33 out of 105 clips or something. I was like, someone made 105 lore videos for the Lord of the Rings and popped them in this video game.
Also, I'm a Lord of the Rings nerd.
Yes.
The Lord of the Rings, Middle-earth is like one of the most like well thought out, just rich lore worlds you could ever dig into. By tying it heavily to the movies, though, you're not touching on all these other cool things you could do, right? And it is hilarious to me because this is a Lord of the Rings to the movies. This is not to the books. So like there's not a lot of like book stuff referenced. There is a lot, it's all the movie stuff.
Which is different, like
and I'm not saying
was it EA also who made like, no, it was LucasArts. The LucasArts who did the Star Wars games. But
yes.
All that's so the expanded like Star Wars material is fine because all there is of Star Wars is like the movies. Like that is the baseline. The codex of Star Wars is the movies and everything branches off on that. The codex of Lord of the Rings is the books and the movies are a branch off of that thing.
I do wonder how much of this is like licensing stuff because I do know that there was like a lot of weird ties where you could get licensing to the movies and not to the books, or you could get licensing to the books and not the movies, because there is a Hobbit game that is there was a Fellowship of the Ring. There's a Fellowship of the Ring game that is not tied to the movies but is tied to the books,
and like it came out around the same time as the movie. So when they did the Two Towers game, that also had the Fellowship of the Ring in there.
But only from the movies.
Yes.
Like, I remember playing the Fellowship of the Ring game, which is very, like, a lot more, like, childlike in this animation and stuff. And, like, it's got, like, a whole long section that, man, I gotta go back and see more about this. But it has, like, it reminds me of a very Spyro-like section where you, like, ran around the Shire as Frodo beating up stuff with a stick and collecting stuff. And I remember being a kid who had just seen the Fellowship of the Ring and being like, I want to play as Aragon. And they're like, nah, go around the thing. And it's a lot more like childlike and a lot more like in line with the books.
Mm-hmm. There was also a Hobbit game that came out the same
there was also like that
time that had like the childish art style to it.
Yeah, and I remember not liking it as a kid because I hadn't read the books yet, but was a fan of the movie. And I was like, I want to play as Viggo Mortensen, damn it. I want to kill some Yorikai. But, or Orikai. Yeah, but this is very much a movie tie-in game.
Yeah. And because of that is my one detriment with this thing is like the presentation. Like, I'll discuss the battle system in a minute. But the fact that like you have a JRPG battle system and you don't have a battle theme. You just play random music from battles from the movie, and because of that, I was like, "Where's the bop? Your bop is supposed to be right here." They also shuffle like the victory fanfares. They have like 5 to pick from. There's one I really like. It's a da 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 da.
That's like the.
I'm like,
well, that's like the main theme song of those movies.
Yeah, it's like the big fanfare. It's like in all the major like. It's like the triumphant song.
It's when they're running across like the fields in Rohan and stuff. It's like da 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 da.
That little motif right there that they have for one version of the victory fanfare, which I'm like, that's perfect. And you get something that's like dun 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 dun. I'm like, this doesn't feel like level up music.
They took the soundtrack and they just put it into the game.
Yeah, I don't think there's original music in this thing.
How do you feel about your party?
I like Barathor.
He's our main hero.
He's our main hero. I like what Barrymore's up to, and I like. Forgive me for like butchering or forgetting these names because they are like Lord of the Rings ass Lord of the Rings.
Well, and they're also playing off of like each character is almost like a kind of rip of another character. Like he is your Aragon stand-in.
I'll tell you what the story is. This is a D&D campaign led by fans of the movies.
It's a bad D&D campaign. Let's make that clear.
I wouldn't go that
like if it was a good one, we would be like, and we're in like Isengard hunting down, this. This is like I saw the Lord of the Rings movie. I have 6 hours to come up with a D&D campaigin. So we're gonna
watch the movies.
We're gonna follow them just 2 hours behind.
Your guy got the guy who set this up, the DM, got the Lord of the Rings book for the like campaign, flipped through the first page and be like, I don't know, man. Got really excited when he saw the word Gondor and was like, yeah, I'm gonna watch the movies, and then realized he didn't write a campaign.
Yes.
That's what this story is.
He's just following the campaign of the movies.
You're picking up dudes like in a D&D campaign. You're like meeting characters really fast because I'm like, well, I can't have my guy playing Elagos here sit around for an hour, so we got to pick him up really, really quickly. We're gonna get a dwarf people. Oh, our next companions, they can't meet until next week, so they're gonna be a little bit.
What? Yeah, you get farther. The other two. You get.
I haven't even met them.
You get them in chapter 2 and like beginning of chapter 3.
Okay.
So you will get like what is so you have a 6-man cast.
Yeah,
when you got all said and done,
I got 4 of them. The dwarf was the last one I picked up in chapter the first section. I don't know how this game divides.
You get a ranger, a dwarf, an elf lady who's like your mage, and then you get like your warrior in your beginning.
Don't have a lot of cutscenes and stuff with them. This is a weird RPG. Yes. In terms of its structure, you don't have a lot of times with the characters. It's mostly just connecting it's basically like isolated people. They piece together like the dungeons of an RPG and didn't put the towns in between.
So advertising for this game was super heavy into like using original concept art and such from the movies.
Okay.
So when I read the article, and by the way, I would like people to send in, comment, whatever. I would love to do like some of these like video game magazine TikToks and stuff, because there's some fascinating like context to some of these games that were talked about in the advertisements back when games journalism was games journalism. which was shady and underhanded, but I love it. But like in all the
Where'd all this
advertisements-
ethics come from?
Smethics. Fuck that shit. We're drinking Monster and Michelob Ultra on a podcast. That's true video game ethics. Let's fucking go. No, but like one thing that was really, really heavily like advertised was like we're expanding the environments and the settings from the movies, and you kind of realize that there's not a lot of like you are basically the lame version of the Fellowship, and that's not like an insult, but it is like you are going through the places that you saw in the movie with the Fellowship, and you're getting there and you're getting to play through it as a different cast of characters. And like that is cool in some ways, but in others it's a missed opportunity. And I don't know how this works with licensing, so maybe they didn't have it. But like there's so many different things that are happening from a book point of view. Like the story that is presented in the Lord of the Rings movies is very directed around the Fellowship, as it needs to be a movie. But if you know about what's happening outside of that, there's like massive things that are going on in the world that are not dealt with by the core cast of characters. Like, you know, you could do an entire story about what happens like when Gondor retakes Osgiliath. That's a major plot point for what will happen with Gondor. But you could have a game set there, or you could have like you could carry one of the characters to that event or whatever. But this is very much linked to like following the Fellowship, because you and like the money shot for this game is the moments in which you get to play alongside the Fellowship. Did you get to do any of those?
I have not got to. I've heard the like Fellowship in the distance when we went to like the Mithril mines. But
so I want to say the final fight inside the mines of Moria, around mines of Moria, is that you get Gandalf enters the party to fight the Balrog.
Yeah.
Now if you know the story,
I was chasing the Balrog right.
Yeah.
A long story short, I was hoping to like play and finish that section today, but like life happened and I didn't get a chance to.
It's also a big RPG, so you had a lot more like time commitment.
Yeah.
But like that's like the money shot of this game is the moments in which you get to play alongside the Fellowship.
That was in all the trailers, was the moments where you're with the Fellowship, like, oh, Aragorn's here,
and like when you play through the game, like those are the cool moments. Like I remember playing as a kid, and like you get to Helm's Deep, and Helm's Deep is like Legolas, Gimli, and Aragorn's there. So like that's the moment in which you get to play along all three of them. Like when the wall is breached in Helm's Deep, there's a fight where you fight with Gimli to hold the wall. And like if you're a fan of the movies and stuff, you're like, oh, this is this massive moment, and now Gimli's with my party and we'll fighting to hold the breach.
Yeah.
Or like, you know, on the bridge, you know, you do the scene where you're fighting with Legolas on the wall or whatever. So like the money shots are when the main characters come in.
Please tell me you can attack a ladder to knock the ladder.
Yeah,
over.
those ladder knocking down shit,
Yes,
man. You
okay.
gotta like. I want to say like that's a big thing. Like, do you focus on the ladders or do you focus on the Yorkai that's already climbed?
Because
and like there's
that'll lead into my next point, but you can do
yeah, like all that stuff's there.
Yeah.
This is very much movie focused, but I will say like I this was like my first RPG. I remember the combat system being pretty good because, and correct me if I'm wrong, we talked about this a little bit. It is a direct ripoff of Final Fantasy.
This is not just a ripoff of any Final Fantasy. This is specifically a ripoff of Final Fantasy X. So Final Fantasy, like 4 through 9. I haven't played 9, so I don't know. Used something called like the active time battle system, where every move you did was like on a cooldown, and whenever you like your charge like bar filled up, you could like do an attack. 10 was a big deal because it went back to standard turn based. But what separated it was you had the list of turn order on screen at all times. 10 had a lot of abilities that were like about manipulating turn order, like moving a character up the turn order.
So in like classic RPG fighting, like in D&D, it's the equivalent of having haste.
I have initiative.
I have initiative, so therefore I move fast. Like if I'm a rogue, I roll better on initiative, so I generally go more often in the fight.
And it's that specific thing which made me go, oh, you're just ripping off Final Fantasy X.
Which...
Because combat is all about turn order and manipulating that turn order. And I like that you can see in real time too, like when you select an ability, it shows you how the turn order is being affected.
Like a more damaging ability a lot of times will kick you farther down the turn order.
Yes, that, and using a healing item will sometimes, like Barathor has really good initiative. So sometimes you can do a healing item before you do the big attack. But if you do the big attack, then you're going to have to wait a while to use the item. So congratulations, you ripped off a really good battle system and you did a really good job of doing it.
They were not subtle with this. Like in the advertisements on the back of the game, they reference Final Fantasy.
Yes, they do.
This is not something they're trying to hide.
They're like, yeah, this is, but it's made by people who not only love Final Fantasy X, but also saw a little bit of frustration in Final Fantasy X. Like, specifically the random battles. How battles work is mostly, you'll have on the top left corner of the screen, you'll have a symbol, like either the Eye of Sauron or some elf thing that comes into focus, and when it starts to fill up, you know a battle is coming. So you can go into your inventory, you can make heals, you can swap items around, you can be like, did I pick up something? And make the adjustments on the fly so that you're prepared for the next battle. And the Eye of Sauron will trigger a difficult fight. So if you want that difficult fight, you can run around the circle for that eye to charge up. And that's where you get your big level boosts. I was struggling a little bit, because this game's difficulty... It's not a difficulty curve. It's like a difficulty wavelength.
There were certain enemies, and I'm running off of some old memories. So it helped me out here. But I remember certain enemies just being a problem. You didn't get to the Fields of Rohan yet, but there is a enemy in the Fields of Rohan that's a common enemy. It's the Wog Riders. They're the orcs riding wolves.
Yeah,
they are just fuck you, difficulty. But then but it wasn't the game is now difficult because they arrive. It is just when this enemy shows up, it's now hard.
Yeah.
Then you run into mobs.
Moria has that with the side quest is all about finding the random battles that trigger the trolls.
Yeah.
And the trolls can just one-shot you.
Yeah, they're group hits.
Yes.
I remember having to use... I can't remember, my 7th birthday, but I can remember this shit. The dwarf has an ability that puts up, a rock wall in front of him for a second. Yeah. It's
That's very helpful. Or, other teammates, you can,
it's it buffs them. So, I remember having to spam that constantly to survive the trolls from knocking out everybody in one hit. What... I will say this also, and correct me if I'm wrong, Michael, I might be off the rails here. There was a time in video games when someone came up with a new mechanic system, we had a rush to try to rip it off and perfect it. While now in a lot of video games, there's almost agreed upon ways games play. I'm going to use the example of the Call of Duty example, right? First person shooters exist before Call of Duty Modern Warfare 4. This is the original Modern Warfare. Then 4 comes out and it really kind of makes everybody believe in the left trigger zoom in, pop and shoot, accuracy when you aim down sights kind of gameplay, right? Same thing with this. Mechanics kind of were a lot more fluid at a time. And now I feel that doesn't really have that same existing now. Mm-hmm. So you talk about this being Final Fantasy X. It's yeah, it was. And people saw it and they're we can do that, but better. And I don't feel games do that as much now, where there's direct rip-offs of...
Bring back the direct rip-off.
But it almost kind of is necessary to make gameplay, to find that perfect medium, right? Gears of War exists, where it perfects cover-based movement. And then other games start to mess with it, Ghost Recon Advanced Warfighter or Rainbow Six Vegas. And so games start trying to oh, this is a new thing that this company came up with. We're going to rip it off, but try to see if we can do it better. And I feel that's how you progress mechanics. Yeah. And I don't feel that happens now a lot, because a lot of things when it comes to
we figured everything out, basically.
But did we? Would it be better if we were taking more wild shots instead of everything first person shooter playing like Call of Duty, or every third person shooter playing a certain way?
Why haven't people ripped off the Nemesis system? I know
that
patents
fucking
or whatever, but
yeah, but like you
come on.
could get away with it, dude. You could get away with that system is great, and I like think about playing like I'm gonna use like Assassin's Creed game where there's an enemy that's constantly hunting you, like an assassin nemesis system, where there's like counter assassins that you deal with over time and stuff. Like nemesis system in most video games would just be better. Like Doom, like play Doom at Dark Ages, and like you have nemesis system when it comes to demons. They're like this demon in particular really fucking hates the Doom Slayer.
Like, I'll snap a boss fight just triggered.
Like, well, like Doom has the like enhanced enemies.
Yeah.
Where you'll show up and like, oh, this is a tougher version of a Revenant. Like, but like if that was a nemesis system where it's like, this is a Revenant you killed in chapter 4, who's now back, and he's got, instead of rockets, he's got fucking BFG on the back of his back or whatever. Like, he really hates you. Like, I would love...
You killed him with a shotgun,
Yeah.
and now he's gonna kill you with a shotgun.
He's just a Revenant with a shotgun. And he's got the meat hook on it too, so he can fly towards you. Just imagine imps. And like imps now have chainsaws because they got chainsawed last time. It's just a bunch of imps running down the hallway screaming.
Like, this is an effective battle maneuver. We
keep losing to it. Some general in hell's like, what do you mean we keep dying by chainsaws? I guess we'll get rid of all these demonic swords and give y'all Black & Decker chainsaws. Oh my god.
God, an imp at a hardware store is like the funniest image in my head.
They're all like in the Lowe's aisle, like picking out different ones. Being like, I don't know, I feel like this Tillel. Like, no, Bob, you need to get the circular saw. That, like, he keeps killing us with a chainsaw. Don't grab. No, I just feel like I could do some serious damage with this Tillel over here. And just next time the Doomslayer like shows up in an abandoned Mars research facility, it's all a bunch of demons holding like random tools, and like some guy's got like a electric power drill that he forgot to charge, or he's over there trying to switch the batteries out. There's your TikTok clip.
I was thinking the same thing. Is that bad?
Content, boys and girls. What do you think in closing, Michael? How you feel?
I'm glad this game exists. It's a really cool like thing that exists in like the Lord of the Rings world, and I imagine if you were well versed in those movies, you would like be eating this up, just like I ate up every Star Wars game that came out around this time too. I like we bashed the party for being like lesser versions of them, but I really liked Elagast, just because he is that like smarmy like rogue stereotype, but I like that stereotype.
I think that certain characters can get away with being stereotypes if you like the stereotype.
Yeah.
If you like the smarmy rogue, you can be a generic smarmy rogue and still be a fan of him.
I'm like, who's that guy? I like him.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm hunting wolves, and you're like, yeah, hunt those wolves. So yeah, I will say it was funny like comparing this to like Final Fantasy specifically, and then one of the early dungeons being the Mithril Mines, which is there's a Mithril Mine dungeon in Mithril Mine dungeon in this game and in Final Fantasy VII. There's a whole dungeon that takes place
in the Mines of Moria.
They talk about like the Mines of Moria are like mithril.
Oh, they're mining mithril.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So like when the way they described it, and like
yeah,
because that was
mithril is what they.
That was one of the videos I unlocked. Don't you know? So I know they're mining.
I'm imagining it's the scene where Frodo's wearing a mithril chain link mail. It's stronger than diamonds. Don't you know? It can take a spear from a big cave troll.
I didn't see that clip, but I did see a lot of drone shots of New Zealand.
Pretty place. Place.
Yes.
It's where all
that was something in chapter 1 too. The environment would just change across every screen. We were in a forest. Now we're on a snowy mountain. Now we're in a cave. Now we're back in a forest. I'm like, how these environments connect to each other?
Which is really weird because in the movies, that's pretty clear. And in the books, it's very clear because there's a lot of discussion about walking. Yeah, I don't get it, man. I don't fucking know. Like,
I'm glad I played this. Thank you for making me play this, because this was a fun like comparison point to like where games were at the time, especially licensed games at the time, and where like RPGs were at the time. I kind of liked the fact that this was a hybrid between like a JRPG battle system, but then you get to pick where you spec out your points. There's like armor. There's an armor system to this game.
It still has some Western RPG stuff to it.
Yes, it's a weird... all of the non-battle stuff is Western RPG, but then the battle stuff is just straight up JRPG.
You could tell
it's a
me
weird hybrid, and I'm like, why haven't we done more stuff like this?
anything that's not the combat could be a BioWare game of the time.
Yeah,
But everything in the combat is a Final Fantasy game or a Dragon Quest game or whatever.
yeah.
Like it's a weird hybrid. It's very EA of the time because it's like very using like cross marketing for the movies and such. But then it also is like a genre that probably a lot of kids who picked this up because this was a Lord of the Rings game didn't know that it was going to be, and maybe it introduced a lot of people to it. I don't know. It did me. I am fascinated. Also, the PSP version is more of a Final Fantasy Tactics game.
That's amazing.
Like, it's a tactics game where you move units around the battlefield.
Story is a big thing in those tactics RPGs, so I wonder if like the story.
Not really. It's like
Not
different.
really
It's
here.
like evil campaign, good campaign, and it's just jumping around the battles from the movies. Very little story.
Oh.
Yeah, it's just like excuses. It's
I'm like, that could be your like geopolitical
And
Lord of
none
the
of-
Rings story.
and none
that
of
you're
the
looking
like
for.
modifications or anything. Think more like RTS units. So like in this battle, we are fighting on the fields of Minas Tirith, and we have 4 Rohan horse spearmen. We have 1 hero unit and 3 archers versus this group of enemies, and we're trying to accomplish this objective.
So it's not building up a party.
No.
It's like this is.
It's
these
like
are your
RTS / Final Fantasy Tactics style gameplay of
Okay.
grid-based system.
units.
It's very weird. It's of the time.
Okay.
Video games used to be a lot weirder, and they would
If
probably.
you had this on your Game
better.
Boy Advance, you're like, oh hell yeah, this rules.
And I did. It was great. Let's talk about what games we're playing for next time.
Yes.
Michael, what game am I playing next time?
All right. So it's Halloween time.
Spooky.
Yes. So I was like, I want to give Eric a spooky game, and I want to give him one he hasn't played before. This new version of the show has me like thinking weird and wacky.
Okay.
So I'm taking you back to my first console, the Sega Genesis.
Hell yeah.
So I got my retro gaming handheld here, which
That's
I
not
loaded
Sega
this game.
Genesis. That looks like a bootleg retro video game.
It is a bootleg retro video game handheld. I could give you my Sega Genesis if you want to try to hook that up.
Be slightly harder to lug around.
But a little bit. So this is a horror question mark game on the Sega Genesis. It is I don't even know if it's like a revered cult classic because I don't hear a lot of people talking about this now. I feel like the people who talked about the Sega Genesis cult classics have just like moved on with their lives at this point. But this is a game where you're the horror
Okay.
in a way.
This
Like,
Splatterhouse.
It's not Splatterhouse.
Okay.
It's sort of along those same lines, but whereas Splatterhouse think it is of like a campy like Friday the 13th type movie, this one is more on like the Beetlejuice and Sam Raimi style of horror.
Okay.
You are playing a game where you are playing as a ghost, just terrorizing a terrible family. You're playing Haunting, starring Poltergeist for the Sega Genesis.
I've never heard of this game.
Let's go.
Let's fucking go.
I printed out the instruction booklet.
Oh my
for
god,
you.
I got to print out.
Yes.
Look at that art.
This is very much an early 90s, like, campy horror B-movie type.
They have about the authors in this.
Right? Like, this was back, like, when EA was called Electronic Arts. Yeah, and the cartridge for this game, I have the physical cartridge here. EA made their own proprietary cart that went separate from the Sega Genesis. They made their own, like, style cartridge with the EA logo sort of embedded into the cart. Because they didn't. This wasn't a Sega licensed cartridge. This
is crazy.
I love this game. This was actually a good good companion to you continuing to play more Prince of Persia. Because it is a Sega Genesis game, this is a game you could beat in like an hour and a half if you get there. This does have a hard fail state where you do need to restart the game because it is that style. This is in line with like an arcade style game where you're playing as a ghost terrorizing a terrible family.
Yeah, like they said, like they got 4 homes. There are no Vito's Vito family.
Yes.
Ill-gotten gains. They bought these things doing ill-gotten gains. Okay, I'm excited for this.
I love this game.
All right.
And it's one
Haunting.
that I want to sing the praises of because I don't hear anybody talk about this as like a classic of the Sega Genesis. This is one of my favorite Sega Genesis games. This was a game that sort of gave me bad dreams as like a 4 or 5-year-old. And my mom was like, we can just get rid of it. I'm like, no, I love that game.
It terrifies me, but I still love it.
Exactly. Like, don't get rid of it.
I'm very excited for this. I'm also excited that I have a fucking print off of the
For games that have 3 buttons on the Sega Genesis, they don't explain anything to you in these things in games.
That's what a lot of games were of the time.
Yeah, so games that like you need the manual for to even understand how to operate. Now, I understand Haunting, but I didn't know if it was like one of those situations, so I have a printout of the manual for you.
No, I think it's very good to have because it looks to be like
I had the manual at one point, but I can't find it anymore.
We also look like we have spells and stuff that are specific for the different enemies, so you might want to have a thing there.
Yeah, they have specific like abilities that they'll run you through because they don't explain how any of those work in game.
Well, I mean, I would make the argument though. Back in the day, like they assumed you had the manual.
You're gonna read the manual
on the way home
from
the
store.
On the way home, you read the manual, or when you take a dump. Like that's how you do it.
Yes.
Okay, I'm excited. Haunting, Sega Genesis, first Sega Genesis game on the show as well.
Yes.
I'm excited. We're going to
play a Sega Genesis game before we play a Super Nintendo game because that is how it works here.
Yes, that's the backwardness bullshit we are good at. I knocked my seat down. Michael. Yes. I'm using you as a justification to make me play another game.
Okay.
We like Metal Gear, right?
You're gonna make me play this one.
Michael, play Metal Gear Acid and tell me if I should play Metal Gear Acid.
Wait, so you're having me do your dirty work for you?
Yes, pretty much.
I'm doing your research.
Because Metal Gear Acid is one of those games where I stare at so many times, like I should play some Metal Gear Acid. And then I'm like, I don't know. And now I'm like, Michael, play Metal Gear Acid. Tell me if I should play Metal Gear Acid.
This is my favorite pick ever. Because I still haven't played Acid because I was kind of hoping you would play Acid and tell me if I should play it.
No, now you gotta do it.
Dang it.
It became that, or I'll tell you right now, I was going to do another Resident Evil thing. I was going to pitch us play Resident Evil Revelations 2 together.
Okay.
Because maybe we can still do that to talk about it on the show. Because that's a co-op game. But we just did a Resident Evil game. I feel like it's too early to do a Resident Evil game. And then I also was going to make you maybe play that House of the Dead game. But, oh no. But then I was looking at, I want to play Metal Gear.
How long is Metal Gear Acid?
I mean, I don't know. You don't got, listen,
I'm not going to beat it. I'm going to play the first few hours.
But I want to bully you into playing it and tell me if I should play it. We love Metal Gear around here. So yeah, Metal Gear Acid, Michael, because I've been fascinated by this game, and I don't know why I won't just play it. It's on this computer right now, completely legally. It's
you ripped a copy.
Completely. We ripped that copy we have sitting on the desk right now. The listener can't see shit. No, like we completely legitimately have that on this computer. So like you can call me on Tuesday and be like, Metal Gear Acid's amazing, and I might play it. We can both talk about it. But yeah, Michael.
All right.
Play Metal Gear Solid Acid. Tell me if it's good. This show is just an excuse for me to bully you into.
I feel bullied.
You should. This is not a good thing I'm doing.
I'm like, here's a pick. This is like my childhood favorite. I hope you enjoy it. And you're like, hey, should I play this game? Michael, play this game.
Wait a second, though. Wait a second. We both love Metal Gear.
I do love Metal Gear.
I mean, Metal Gear is pretty great. Like.
I will give my review in a couple weeks on if Metal Gear.
I'm not making you play a franchise you don't like.
Oh no, not my favorite franchise, Metal Gear. Oh no,
that's like me being like, Eric, play Resident Evil. I'm like, oh.
Then again, the first on the show was like, Eric, play a Final Fantasy. So
well, I ended up liking it.
Yep.
I mean, like I don't mind it. The Ninja Turtles riding around in a cool car. I mean, like they're kind of hard to not like that Final Fantasy.
It's the most Eric coded Final Fantasy.
It's a pretty good Final Fantasy. The only game from this new thing I haven't liked was the Ace Combat one, which you had never seen that coming because I would have never seen that one.
You're
coming.
Like, this cover's cool.
Yeah, and then I was like,
Flying? What? I don't like that.
But that was this. So we'll come back. I'm gonna play Haunting. And then I'm gonna scare the crap out of these veto people. And then you're gonna play Metal Gear Solid Acid or Metal Gear Acid and tell me if I should play it.
Love it.
Bullying, boys and girls.
It works.
It's the status. It works. Stay safe out there.